Hi, I'm Lance Hendricks, and you're watching Brian Lomax's Movie Talk.
Hello and welcome to Brian Lomax Movie Talk, and welcome to my first day of the 31 days of December, or 31 days of Christmas, as I prefer to call it, that I'm doing. I've never really been much of a Halloween guy, so when a lot of people were doing 31 days of October, I thought, you know what, I'm going to hold off, I'm going to do 31 days of December, and we're starting today. Every day of December, I'm going to review a Christmas movie, and we're starting with Miracle on 34th Street, a film that I've only ever seen in bits, to be honest. I've seen the odd bit here and there and thought that it looked a little bit dull. So this is the first time I've literally just sat down, watched it from start to finish, and I gotta say, I was really charmed by it. It's a really charming film. Richard Attenborough is particularly good in this. He has that very likeable quality. He always has. Anything he's in, you think of him in Jurassic Park, he's just a big huggy bear. You kind of like him. So Attenborough basically plays this guy who believes himself to be Santa Claus, and through a sheer accident he kind of becomes a Santa Claus for this store, this big chain, this big department store, and he becomes very good at it, very successful, to the point that people actually flock to that store because of him. So he boosts their sales, so they really love him for that, obviously. When the store department's biggest rival, kind of realise that he's the reason for their success, they scupper him. They basically make him look like a fool in front of the whole nation. They make him look like he's a mental patient, basically. And he has to go on trial to prove that he's not mental, which obviously in this case looks like a clear case of, actually, yeah, you're going to an institution, mate. There's no way you're getting out of this. So the film essentially works as a trial about faith. So what do you want to put your faith in? And what do you have the right to put your faith in? And does that make you insane to do so? You know, many kids still believe in Santa Claus. And just because most people don't, does that mean we should tell them and kind of crush their dreams? And does the symbol of Santa Claus mean something? You know, is it enough to say that actually this guy can go on believing he's Santa? Because actually that means something. The symbolism of that means something to a lot of people. In many ways, this film is kind of putting faith on trial. There's one particular moment towards the end of the film where, yeah, they turn that attention to a belief in God. So that aspect of the film, I think, may offend some people if they really think about it. If you're a person of faith, then you might be offended by the whole aspect of comparing the belief in Santa and saying it's the same essentially as the belief in God. It's a difficult one. I personally didn't, because I found that the film had a lot to say about faith that was quite positive, such as not being able to disprove what someone believes in, which means that actually they're free to believe in what they want to believe. So yeah, take it however way you want. This film was partly written and produced by John Hughes, who obviously was famous for films like The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, and the rather underrated Some Kind of Wonderful, which I think is the better version of Pretty in Pink. He also produced the Home Alone movies, which I will be reviewing at some point this month. But yeah, for me, John Hughes has always been a bit hit and miss. Some of his early work is really good, the aforementioned Breakfast Club and Some Kind of Wonderful. But I don't like Pretty in Pink, and I hate Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I know I'm in the minority on that one. But yeah, for me, it's pretty hit and miss. But this one, I would say, is definitely a hit. It's a really nice film. It's not without its flaws, it's not perfect, but it is just a film that is full of charm, and if you want to get into the Christmas spirit, it is definitely a good place to start. Like I say, Richard Attenborough is fantastic in it, but the little girl as well. Mara Wilson was, of course, in Mrs. Doubtfire and Matilda, and around this time, she seemed to have quite a few hits. She's a brilliant child actor, or she was. She's obviously grown up now, and still working, apparently. But yeah, her performance here for a child is particularly good. She really draws you in. She's sweet but without being saccharine, and that's the same can be said for Attenborough. I think the two of them bring just enough schmaltz to this film without going overboard, without tipping it over the edge where it becomes something that is just too saccharine. The weakest aspect of the film for me is the relationship between Brian and Dory. I don't believe that Brian would be so fixated on this woman because she gives him the cold shoulder so many times. She's almost impenetrable, and he just seems to chase her all the time. And I don't quite get it. I don't quite believe it. I'm not saying she's not a nice person, but yeah, it's hard to believe that he would chase this woman as much as he does when he's being pushed away as much as he is. A lot of the humour in the film as well, as is often the case with John Hughes, is quite slapstick, so it doesn't always hit the right notes. I think John Hughes' strength is doing the emotional stuff. He always seems to manage to wrangle some really deep emotions, affections out of the audience for his characters because, as I say, he makes them likeable. But when he does the humour stuff, the slapstick stuff, that's not his strength, I don't think. And thankfully, that stuff is quite minimal in this film. He goes more for the characterizations. He goes more for drawing us into these people. The Miracle on 34th Street, like I say, not a perfect film, but it is a very good film and it will get you into the Christmas spirit. Definitely a good place to start. And I give it a 3.5 out of 5. If you've seen this film, please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And tell me which version you think is the best if you've seen the original and this one. Join me tomorrow when I'll be reviewing another Christmas film. But until then, thanks for watching.